Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pol Ke Bol. We have been off air for the longest time. I really apologize for that, but we are back again. And yeah, I'm back. It feels great. Feels fantastic, frankly. It's been a long time. I've moved houses. I no longer live in Navi Mumbai. I live in Mumbai now. Proper Mumbai. Incredibly different experience. What can I say? I I really am doing this only because a lot of my friends came forward and said, "Hey, you know what? Like, we really miss the podcast," and I feel overwhelmed. I feel flattered that people really care so much about what I have to say. I think they're just being nice, but I guess I need to do this. It's very important that this goes on. There are so many things that are happening. What would I want to talk about this time? The first thing I would like to talk about, obviously, today is about the World Cup. I think the World Cup is a great event. It is the greatest sports event in the world, and I frankly feel that Lionel Messi winning that World Cup is one of the greatest sporting stories of all time. It's the football equivalent of Sachin winning the Cricket World Cup in 2011. And I will go that route. I'm sorry, yeah. But Sachin and Messi are very much similar, like little masters, right? And greats of the game. But Messi has won everything that is there to be won, and so has Sachin for that matter. And they're icons of the sport. And the fact that Messi finally got his World Cup, for me, he is the greatest of all time. I'm a Ronaldo fan, no doubt about it. But there comes a time when you just have to raise your hands and just accept it. Like, Messi is better. Messi is the best. In fact, people would say, "Hey, it's Pele. Hey, it's Maradona." People forget that Maradona was playing at a high level for not more than 6 to 7 years. All right. His time at Napoli, his time with Argentina, of course, in the 1986 and 1990 World Cup. That is it. From 1982, 1983 till 1989 or 90, I would say, is like the end of Diego Maradona's leadership of football. And that's the plain truth of it, whether you like it or not. Of course, football is not always about numbers, it's about iconic moments, and Maradona had more than a handful of them. That's for sure. Longevity matters a lot, and context matters too. Pele is one of the greatest, and for good reason. But people often forget that Pele was surrounded by some world beaters in Brazil. Okay, and that Brazilian team, they had some absolutely all timers playing with him. Okay, he had Garincha, he had like Carlos Alberto, and so many more. All right, and nothing, not gonna take anything away from Pele. He is one of the greatest, top three of all time for sure. But an icon of the sport. But Messi, uh, just the sheer number of goals he scored against the best opposition in the world for more than almost like 15, 20 years now, and I think that's what really counts. And Messi's done it at a time where being a football celebrity is much more and much more difficult than it was back then during the time of Pele, and even Maradona for that matter, where uh, you could actually get away with a lot of things, but the scrutiny that a modern footballer has is incomparable to the scrutiny that those folks had back then, right? The game wasn't as developed, the game wasn't as commercialized. Uh, Fans, of course, it was still the beautiful game, the people's game, but it was not as massive as it is today, right? Like, there are rallies being taken out in Bangladesh just because Messi won the World Cup. Like, people were going crazy at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. In Kerala, India, because Messi won the World Cup, right? Like, not to speak of Buenos Aires, where there were like 7 million people or so, people jumping from rooftops, people jumping from uh, light, what are those light poles, people jumping from bridges onto the team bus. In fact, it was so crowded they had to bring in helicopters, and rightly so. And that just shows how crazy football is, and the magnitude of the achievement of Lionel Messi and his Argentinian teammates. What a story! What a brilliant story! And I think Messi deserved it. This was his last World Cup for sure. I'll just say I'm really happy for Lionel Messi. That's one thing out there. Like even once again, Ronaldo fan, but boss Messi winning it is the shiz. Moving on to other matters, I'd like to talk about 2022. Right, it's ending. 2022 is ending. It was an incredible year, much better than 2020 and 2021 for sure. Straight up because of like the pandemic, clearly, right? Like it receded in most parts of the world, although it's seeing a resurgence in China right now. But hope it dies down, man. Like this, it was a really bad time. The last couple of years weren't easy. 2022 was still a little better, right? Like at least from that perspective, like there were no lockdowns and stuff, at least not in India. And yeah, of course, there was the war in Ukraine. That happened. The tech market went for a toss. The labor market, like the mass layoffs that have happened. I myself work in tech, right, and so does my wife in a way. So we do know what's happening. We do know friends, who have been, kind of affected by it. Thankfully, not directly affected by it. In some ways, even we have felt it a little bit, right? Like, okay, the situation isn't that great, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, and we just thank God that things are cool with us. But yeah, the tech bubble had to burst, right? I I feel the biggest takeaway from 2022 is that tech is not the answer to everything in the world. I feel I have felt this for a long time that uh, technologists, for the lack of a better word, for the last 2 to 3 to 4 years, like half a decade almost, I would say, have been going out with a hammer in their hand and searching for a nail, and that is like, because see, when you walk around with a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail, right? So they're going out with preset solutions and they're trying to force fit the solution to a problem, which is which is not the right approach, clearly, and we can see that the perfect example would be that of crypto, right? And of course, like lots of social media that has come out, like the fall of social media rather, that has happened in the last 3 to 6 months. The numbers are down. The companies have had to downsize heavily, and just coming back to crypto, right? Like, what a joke, Like, I've always felt it was like one of the most scammy things I've ever seen. See, when really average intelligence folks, with all due respect, start tom-tomming about something, you just know something's wrong, you know. You just know something's wrong. And like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and you can feel it, you can feel it's a bandwagon. And it's very easy to get carried away by the FOMO factor. But I'd like to, like just give myself some credit here, I guess, because I was like, boss, I'm not investing in anything that I don't understand. And crypto was one of them. I just, like, for the life of me, I couldn't understand what the fuck they were trying to do, trying to sell. I was like, no, I'm not investing. Like, of course, there are some returns in it, no doubt about it, some great returns. Good for them, the people who made money out of it. I was not one of them, but I was also not one of those people who lost money in it. Some of it, like, come on, man, like, you're really trying to sell me something called a Shibu or Moon or some shit coin or whatever the hell. Like, do you know how hard we all work to earn our money, and you think we are going to put that shit in some online thing? Like, I might as well go and gamble it, right? I'm not a gambler. I'm sure if I did gamble, I would lose. I'm not good at it. but but I'm also not a fool, man. And I think a lot of you guys were absolute fools. And I just feel, I'm sure my listeners, to any one of you who's invested in crypto, man, come on, like get a hold of yourself. How can you do this? Unless you really understand it, then good for you. I never understood it. Let me take that back. You invest in whatever you feel like, but do not invest in anything that you do not understand. And if you really do not understand, like something like it's like you're just throwing money, with your eyes closed. Might as well do that. Genuinely, might as well do that. Don't disrespect yourself and disrespect your money and your hard work by investing in such things. Quick money is like, I can't believe I'm having to say this, but quick money is never really that great. Come on, guys. So anyway, that's on crypto. Like, what a joke. The fall of SBF, the fall of FTX and Alameda Research. I've been reading and listening so much about it, and it's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. The poster child of crypto trading all over the world was Sam Bankman-Fried, and this guy basically has been currently discredited so badly. And he's lucky, like he's not going through much worse, which most people expected, but that hasn't happened. In the sense that he did get prosecuted, I think, and he's out on bail, bond, whatever. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the industry, and crypto is done for like the time being, I would say. See, blockchain is great, right? Like, I'm sure the core technology under crypto is blockchain, right? And I'm sure there are multiple use cases and there's a future for blockchain, but I do not think crypto has a future, because central governments all over the world are never going to give away, uh, you know, the the financial power and management to a bunch of kids in half pants. I'll be very honest. And which is where I would like to come back to my original point of technology folks trying to influence everything in the world with technology. Okay. They went after retail. Amazon went with technology after retail successfully, like revolutionized retail. Um, Many of them went after the payment systems, the PayPal mafia. They did well. Um, in India, we have our own versions of payment gateways for both B2C and B2B. So they have changed lives, like the delivery systems for grocery, for food. They have changed lives. Technology folks have changed lives. I'll give you that. But every time they try to go after the core of the financial system, they come off really badly. I think this is not the first time this has happened. I think in 2009-10 itself, there was some challenge with digital currency uh, beforehand, with Bitcoin and stuff back when it was really taking off. And in the last 2-3 years, we have seen the ups and downs of crypto coins, and basically the lack of credibility of major crypto companies is frankly shocking. And these are people who want to change the way the financial system works. Like, get a haircut, man. Get a haircut. Okay, I'm not giving my money to anyone who doesn't know how to even dress well. Okay, you will tell me, oh, the bank folks, they wear suits and they're slick with the hair and they've been stealing your money. I was like, yeah, I get it. That is not a perfect system either. But you're not going to win hearts and minds in, the future by dressing up the way you do and being unregulated and indisciplined and straight up destroying confidence in your product. Okay. And I think with whatever has happened since Elon Musk took over Twitter, the biggest equity fall since then has not been in the Tesla stock, but in the Elon Musk stock. Like, no one has had a worse 2022, I would say, than Elon Musk. And of course, there are a lot of people, but in terms of like fall in terms of percentage equity, I would say Musk really took a hit to his image, right? Like 1 year ago, this guy was like this, like literally the richest man in the world, who would, shit post on Twitter and just literally go on YouTube and meet some YouTubers, guest star and everything. I think he was once even like with PewDiePie. Of course, his Joe Rogan appearance is super famous and for good reason. But currently, if you see, Elon Musk is the guy who overpaid for Twitter, fired half of its staff, and is just causing controversy after controversy every week. Okay, and all this while the economy is in the doldrums and Tesla stock has been falling rapidly. I personally feel he's made a mistake with Twitter, not by buying Twitter. That's fine. Everyone knows he overpaid it for it. He himself knows it very well. The biggest problem, though, is that he's trying to run it himself. I do not think that's sustainable. I do not think that's good for Twitter either. Twitter needs a new management, a radically new approach, and I think it has a lot of advertising potential. Being a marketeer myself, a digital marketeer at that, I can tell you if Twitter really solves its advertising product, um, it will, it can definitely get back to its best, what it was supposed to be. Many people don't realize, but Twitter is a failed promise. Twitter was supposed to overtake Facebook in some ways. Of course, it was definitely cooler than LinkedIn. But I would say LinkedIn and Facebook clearly have way more people than Twitter. Facebook definitely does. That's not comparable. But Twitter was really supposed to monetize it better, create better shareholder value and stuff like that, and just be a better product. I don't think it is that. I don't think it is that. Twitter is the loudest room in the building. A very necessary room, I would say, but how much of it is really, making money to the company itself? It got co-opted by propagandists, and bad actors. My biggest problem with Twitter is that it holds way too much influence. Okay, what happens on Twitter matters a lot. Like, people have lost legacies and much more over it. Or simple Twitter feuds. It's embarrassing, and it's just something. It's a game where you win if you don't play it. It's become that. As they say, never become the main character on Twitter. That's the whole objective of it. I would say that it's become a place which is rife with disinformation, and it's co-opted, man. It was supposed to be much better than what it is now. Like, I joined Twitter 2010, 11, I would say. Not 10, 11, I would say, yeah. Long back. And it's been like 12, 13 years, and hardly any change in the product in terms of, whoa, this changes everything sort of a thing, right? Hardly anything. Facebook in that period has gone through massive changes. It's now in the doldrums. That's a different story. But as a product, I think I think Twitter can do much, much, much better. Let's see if Elon can turn it around. But I'm pretty sure the richest man in the world has bigger priorities than turning around like a social media network. I think so. That's my take on it. And once again, technology folks trying to solve, problems, which they are not capable of. Because the last decade or so gave tech bros that perception that they were the masters of the universe, and in many ways they were and still are and will continue to be in various respects. But they cannot solve everything. They just cannot. I mean, look at like Zuckerberg trying to change the way we work and live with Meta. Like, boss, get lost, man. Like who wants to put on goggles while already sitting at home or wherever, Like, I don't know, like at max, I see the adoption starting with B2B and enterprises, and that too not on an individual level in an enterprise either. It is like certain use cases, like, you want to train surgeons, you want to train army and policemen, simulation based training and stuff like that. I mean, and multiple more use cases, but all of these are boring use cases. They're very important use cases, but none of them are going to lead to mass adoption. Let's be very honest. The technology I'm really waiting for is Google Glass. I thought that was actually a very cool technology, but I'm pretty sure it's going to, cause a lot of privacy issues. Like, like you can just blink and click a picture of someone. You can still do that with the phone if you're sneaky enough, but I would say Google Glass was something I was really looking forward to, and I still do for whatever reason. So Google, if you're listening, please bring back Google Glass. I'm sure they have renamed it, but yeah, Meta, like a joke. You have Elon Musk, who has kind of permanently harmed his reputation and his legacy. We don't know how his story ends, but currently it's a very unnecessary and dark chapter with him in my eyes. So there's that. And yeah, other than that, I would say looking forward to 2023. I think 2023, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to release podcasts much more frequently. I need to, man. I need to be fair to myself and to others. It's always great to voice out my opinions and whatever's happening in the world. And that's one. Second, I hope the war in Ukraine stops. Like, the war is not good, man. Uh, I just hope there is an agreement on both sides, and there's a reasonable end to this conflict. That's second. Uh, Third, I would say 2023. I hope we never hear about COVID again. Like, just like seriously, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. Don't want to hear it again. I would love to see what happens in the world of football. 2023. Really, really looking forward to it. I think we even have the 2023 World Cup. Do we have the ICC World Cup 2023? I don't know. Do we? 2011, 15, 19, 23? Yes, yes, sir. Uh, the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023. Yeah, 50 over format. I hope India wins. I don't see much of a chance over there, to be honest, because I don't think India really has the players to win it. I don't think so. I don't think so. We are going through a transition. This is Kohli's last chance, no doubt. Is Kohli even playing 50 overs? Is he? Is he playing 50 overs? I think he is. Yeah, he is. He's just not the captain. Yeah, he's just not the captain. So, yeah. I hope India wins the World Cup. There's that. Other than that, what else? I hope the situation in the job market improves, especially in the tech world, because um, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. They're saying there will be a recession, a proper one in 2023. Some people are saying we're already in a recession, and the governments world over are not ready to accept it and stuff like that. So I don't know what to say. That is also quite odd that we have reached a point where we can't even agree upon whether we are in a recession or not. That's not cool. That's really not cool. Other than that, the economy needs to improve. Yeah, overall the economy needs to improve world over and in India, of course. India needs to really create more jobs. I mean, I swear to God, the way our population is booming. If we do not increase the way we increase if we do not increase the job production rate, especially in the private sector, we are in trouble. We're in big trouble. Because, see, man, simply speaking, like, it will cause a lot of socioeconomic issues, right? Like, it will cause political problems, it will cause social problems, societal problems, of course. Let's not go that route. Let the demographic dividend stay a dividend and not a curse. That's my biggest fear with India. Maybe we'll have to start universal basic income in the next decade or so. I think we are already out there with a lot of freebies in terms of food and stuff, right? Like, but if you're going to do direct action, direct bank transfers, which we already have during emergencies, is that going to be a staple feature of life in India for certain sections of the society, just to keep everything under a lid? I don't know. Maybe. I know for a fact universal basic income will become a normal thing in the next couple of decades. It will start with somewhere in Europe, in North America. Canada will be the first one to adopt it. Some South American trailblazers will take it upon themselves. I'm pretty sure there is already a concept of UBI in the Middle East in certain countries for the citizens over there, right? So, of course, there will be parts of Southeast Asia that will do it, because those folks have a good system, like they can execute things really well. India will have to do it. India will have to go the UBI route, because we are still somewhere. We are good 25 years away from accepting that private enterprise is going to save the country. from itself. The government cannot create all the jobs. More importantly, the government shouldn't be in the job of creating jobs. It cannot, it should not, it's not good, it's not long term, it's not sustainable. Jobs need to be privatized. Many companies need to be privatized. That is just my opinion. I may be wrong. You will be like, what are your credentials? Not much, but that's okay. That doesn't stop many of our experts of the day from voicing their opinions on any topic, presented in front of them. So I am in huge favor of privatizing non-strategic companies which are owned by the government of India. Like keep finance, keep defense, rest all boss. Like please, at least invite private, investment. At least do that. Otherwise it's not going to happen. Otherwise it's not going to happen. We need our infrastructure to really grow in our country, and that cannot happen just at public expense. I mean, God, we need good infrastructure, we need good roads, good amenities. Otherwise, we'll keep having brain drain in India. Like I remember, I was in 7th standard or something, and they were like, elocution competition. Your topic is why is brain drain happening in India? Oh, how to stop it? And we were kids and we were like, oh, we should do this, we should do that, we should stay back in the country. Nonsense, all nonsense. Today I know how much tax I pay every month. It's an obnoxious amount compared to what we get back in terms of basic facilities like roads, bridges, water supply, a lot of other things. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Most of our money, rightly so, goes in uplifting the disadvantageous folks in our country, the underserved, the underprivileged. And that is why I'm like, what makes sense. That's okay. That's cool. We are very lucky. We are very privileged. God has been kind. We get all this money. But for how long? I meet my friends who live in the US, who live in North America, Canada, Europe, Australia for that matter, Middle East. And these are people who are earning in Forex. They're earning in dollars, they're earning in euros, they're earning in pounds, they're earning in dirhams, they're earning in Singaporean dollars, they're earning in Australian dollars. And the power of what they earn is so much more than the power of what I earn. The only advantage I have over them is if I feel like having my mom's, gajar ka halwa, I can just take a 1.5 hour cab ride and go home and eat it. That is my only advantage over them, frankly. That my family is around me. That's a big advantage. That's an incredible advantage. That's a privilege even. I get that. But that is literally, I feel, the only advantage I have over those friends of mine. And in case these folks decide to come back 5 years from now, their bank balance will be more than mine if things go in a linear fashion. And more, let's be honest, living in India, many a times we work longer hours than them. And I'm happy for them. But I also want an opportunity to be happy for me too. In this regard at least. Come on. We deserve better work-life balance. I'm lucky, thank God, touch wood, my company really values work-life balance. But I know a lot of Indian folks who, and some, I won't name names, but I have worked in other companies and work-life balance is a myth. In fact, it is looked down upon by their top management because you're not even looked at as an employee, as a colleague. You're looked down as a fairly, honestly, you're looked upon as a resource, And what do you do with a resource? You use it. You use a resource. And that is not a sustainable thing. I mean, the lockdowns, the pandemic, it taught me, man, none of this is worth it. This is all a joke. None of these people deserve so much of our time. None of them do. And that is when I finally looked at my friends who lived in other nations than India. And I was convinced, and I am still convinced, they have a better life. They have a better life. Which is very unfortunate. 7th standard Saurabh would feel really bad that I'm advocating for brain drain. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying I don't condone it, but I'm just saying I understand. I can understand if someone really wants to leave this country just for basic things like a decent work-life balance and a fair return on the income tax that you pay. Many of my friends are at places where there are no income taxes, like just by the way. So, I mean, that's even funny. But yeah, that's what it is. I hope things improve in India. The ROI on what we put out, into the system gets better. We need it. We need it. We need it better. I can't wait for all the metro lines in Mumbai to start. Otherwise, this city is an extremely difficult city to traverse and extremely difficult place to live in. Otherwise, yeah, that's about it from my side for 2023. Of course, goes without saying. I hope we all are healthy, man. I hope we are all healthy. I hope no one has any issues in terms of health because that is the most important part. You know, I mean, career growth and all, that's great. Money, bank account, fantastic, like great, hona chahiye, but none of that matters. None of that matters if you're not feeling great. Yeah, if your health is not in the right place, in the right state. So yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't know how I ended it. I could have ended it probably better, but yeah, those are my honest thoughts. All the best for 2023, guys. Relax, spend the last week chilling, have a great time, get off your screens. I think we have had enough screen time to last a lifetime. Get the fuck off your screens. Spend time with your family and your loved ones. I missed you guys. I hope you missed me too. I will be more regular. This has been Saurabh Pol for Pol Ke Bol. Take care, guys.